Today everyone, welcome to discussion 3.6, half angle identities. So this one right here would be the last discussion video for your third exam coverage. And luckily, we just have three identities here which we need to add in our toolbox. So these are called half angle identities since we are concerned with the trigonometric function values of half angles. So by half angles, I mean we're dividing an angle by 2. So first is sine of x over 2. That's just plus minus square root of 1 minus cosine x over 2. While for cosine of x over 2, that's plus minus square root of 1 plus cosine x over 2. So the only difference here between sine and cosine is that you have a minus right here, while for the cosine you have a plus. So you just have to be careful with that one. Now you might be asking why we have plus and minus here. That's because the values right here would depend on the location of the point function of x over 2. So what I am saying right here is that we have to be careful about the quadrant for which you can find this half angle right here. And by knowing the quadrant where this one is located, you can identify whether you will use the plus or the minus square root. Luckily for the tangent function, the square root is no longer your problem. However, you have two formulations for tangent. So you have the first one, sine x over cosine x plus 1. And the second one, you have 1 minus cosine x over sine x. So I will give you the same tip as what I gave in cosine of 2x. In proving identities, touch tangent of x over 2 at the last part of your computation. So let's proceed with our examples. We don't really have that much, but for the first one, what we'll do is just answer some questions. For the first one, let's find sine of x over 2, cosine of x over 2, and tangent of x over 2 given the following. So letter A, we have sine of x equals 5 over 13, where x is in between pi over 2 and pi. So what do we need to find these half angle values right here? If you will look at the equation right here, you only need cosine and sine. Right now you have sine, so what's left for us is to find cosine. So how do we find cosine? We can use our favorite identity, cosine squared x plus sine squared x equals 1, where sine x equals 5 over 13. So we have right here cosine squared x equals 1 minus, we have 5 over 13 squared, and further simplifying, this one will just be 5 squared, so that's 25 over 13 squared, which is 169. So we have 1 minus 25 over 169. That's just 169 minus 25 all over 169. You have 144 over 169. So cosine squared x is 144 over 169. And finally, this gives us cosine x equals plus minus square root of 144 over 169, which is just the same as plus minus square root of 144, so that's 12, all over square root of 169, that's 13. However, which value of cosine x do we need to use? Would it be the plus or the minus? So take note, your x is in between pi over 2 and pi. So that means we're looking at this portion of the unit circle, and we're talking about quadrant 2 right here. And in quadrant 2, the x values are negative, and x values corresponds to your cosine. So that means we will take the negative component. So that's negative 12 over 13, since p of x is in quadrant 2. So now that you have your sine and your cosine, we can now proceed with finding sine of u over 2, cosine of u over 2, and tangent of u over 2. So first, sine of x over 2, we have plus minus square root of 1 minus cosine x over 2, and this one is just equal to plus minus square root of 1 minus cosine x, that's negative 12 over 13 over 2. Then further simplifying what's inside, we have plus minus, so let's see, you have 1, then the negative sign here can be distributed inside. We have plus 12 over 13, so this one is just 13 in the denominator. 13 plus 12 equals 25 over 13. Then finally, dividing this entire thing by 2, we have plus minus square root of 25 over 26. So let's leave that one as is first. For cosine of x over 2, that's just plus minus square root of 1 plus cosine x over 2. So you have plus minus square root of 1 plus negative 12 over 13 over 2, which you can simplify into. So right here you have 1 minus 12 over 13. So that's just 13 minus 12 all over 13. You have 1 over 13. Then dividing everything by 2, we have 1 over 26 inside. Then lastly, for tangent x over 2, for tangent of x over 2, you can use either this one or this one. It doesn't really matter. So I'll just use sine x over cosine x plus 1, sine x over cosine x plus 1. So that's 5 over 13 all over negative 12 over 13 plus 1. So that's just 5 over 13 all over this one we have just computed to be 1 over 13, which upon further simplification, you have 5 over 13 times the reciprocal of this one, which is 13, you have 5. Okay? However, we are not yet done since you have plus minus here. So how will we find that? We have to take note of this x over 2 right here. We have to identify where p of x over 2 is located. So identify location of p of x over 2. How do we do that? We will exploit this one right here. So what we know that x is in between pi over 2 and pi. And so, dividing this entire inequality by 2, we get x over 2 to be in between pi over 4 and pi over 2. So let's draw our quadrant again. This one corresponds to 0 to pi over 2. And this one right here corresponds to pi over 4 to pi over 2. So this is telling us that p of x over 2 is somewhere right here, which nonetheless is in quadrant 1. So since we are in quadrant 1, we are taking the positive values of sine and cosine. So hence, p of x over 2 is in quadrant 1, and therefore your sine of x over 2 equals the positive square root of 25 over 26. Your cosine of x over 2 is the positive square root of 1 over 26. And tangent of x over 2 is 5. Let's proceed to the next example. For letter B, we have right here cosecant of x equals negative 5/3. And the condition x is in between pi and 3 pi over 2. So what do we need to do again? First, we need sine x and cosine x. So first, we have here cosecant x, which will directly give us your sine over x. So we have that sine over x is just the reciprocal of cosecant x, which is negative 3 over 5. Then second one, to find cosine x, we just use this identity. You have cosine squared x plus sine squared x equals 1. Your sine x is negative 3 over 5. So cosine squared x equals 1 minus negative 3 over 5 squared. That gives us 1 minus, we can distribute the square here, and the negative is getting rid of by the square. So you have 9 over 25, which upon simple arithmetic is just 16 over 25. Then finally, obtaining the square root of both sides, we have cosine x equals plus minus square root of 16 over 25, which is, by distributing the square root in the numerator and the denominator, we have plus minus 4 over 5. Now, to identify whether to use the plus or the minus, we will just take note of this one right here. We know that x is in between pi and 3 pi over 2. So that means we're looking at the third quadrant. And in the third quadrant, both sine and cosine are negative. So that means we're taking cosine of x to be negative 4 over 5, since p of x is in quadrant 3. So now that we have sine and cosine of x, we can proceed in finding the half angle values. So first, let's identify where p of x over 2 is located. So we know that x is in between pi and 3 pi over 2. And so, dividing this inequality by 2, we'll get that x is in between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 4. where can we find this? P of pi over 2 is right here, and you have here P of pi. So the values of x in between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 4 will be found right here, which is in quadrant 2. So that means P of x over 2 is in quadrant 2. And what do we know in quadrant 2? In quadrant 2, the y coordinates are positive. So that means sine x is greater than 0, while the x coordinates are negative. So cosine x is less than 0. So let's put that as a remark here. Sine x greater than 0, cosine x less than 0. So using the identities, we have sine of x over 2 equals, since sine is positive, we just write the positive square root of 1 minus cosine x over 2. That one is the square root of 1 minus negative 4 over 5 over 2, which upon simplification, you can show that this is just the square root of 9 over 10. For the second one, cosine of x over 2, this time, cosine is negative. So we will just use the negative part of this identity. So we have the negative square root of 1 plus cosine x over 2. That's the negative square root of 1 plus negative 4 over 5 over 2. That will give us negative square root of 1 over 10. And finally, for tangent of x over 2, we can just use the first form, sine x over cosine x plus 1. That will give us sine x is negative 3 over 5 all over cosine x is negative 4 over 5 plus 1, which again, by simple arithmetic, will give you negative 3. So I hope it's clear right now how to find for the trigonometric function values of half angles. First, find sine and cosine of x. Then after that, determine the location of P of x over 2 so that you can use the identities appropriately. Now let's proceed to our third example. Let's evaluate cosine of 15 degrees plus sine of 15 degrees all over cosine of 15 degrees minus sine of 15 degrees. How do we do this? Take note that 15 degrees equals 30 degrees all over 2. So we can write everything as cosine of 30 degrees over 2. You have here sine of 30 degrees over 2, and accordingly in the denominator. However, what's our problem? Our problem is that your half angle identities are inside radicals. And take note, you cannot add radicals like this. These two are not equal at all. So instead of using your half angle identities, maybe we can do some manipulations. First, take note that cosine of 15 degrees and sine of 15 degrees, they are not equal. Since in quadrant 1, only cosine of 45 degrees and sine of 45 degrees are equal. And in particular, we know that cosine of x equals sine of 90 degrees minus x. And since these two angles do not equal 90 degrees, we are sure that these two are not equal. So since they are not equal, what we can do is do some kind of multiplication and division in the numerator and denominator. So as a trick, if you can recall, if you see the minus right here, you can do a multiplication and division, or should I say, you can multiply something in the numerator and something in the denominator. In particular, since you have a minus here, you would want to multiply by a plus right here. So we'll multiply cosine of 15 degrees plus sine of 15 degrees all over cosine of 15 degrees plus sine of 15 degrees, so that in the denominator we'll get, take note, this is the same, this is the same, so we can write this as cosine squared of 15 degrees minus sine squared of 15 degrees. And in the numerator, you have the same thing right here. So let's just write it for now as cosine of 15 degrees plus sine of 15 degrees squared. Then for the denominator, recall, this is just your double angle for sine. So that's the cosine of 2 times 15 degrees or cosine of 30 degrees. So in the denominator, you have cosine of 30 degrees. And expanding the numerator, you have the square of a binomial here. So you square the first term, you have cosine squared of 15 degrees plus twice the product of these two. So 2 cosine 15 degrees sine 15 degrees plus the square of the last term. So that's sine squared of 15 degrees. Okay, we're getting close. Now, observe that you have these two terms right here. Cosine squared of 15 degrees plus sine squared of 15 degrees. And you should be familiar by this right now. You have your Pythagorean identity, so that's just going to be equal to 1. Then next, this one right here, doesn't this look quite familiar to you? This one is just the double angle for sine. So you have sine of 2 times 15 degrees or sine of 30 degrees. So that green part will just be sine of 30 degrees all over cosine of 30 degrees. And finally, we have 1 plus sine of 30 degrees, that's just 1/2. And cosine of 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 2. So that in the numerator, we get 3/2 over square root of 3 over 2, which finally would be equal to, so this one will just be 3/2 times the reciprocal of the denominator. You have 2 over square root of 3. Then we get here 3 over square root of 3. But take note, 3 is just the square of square root of 3. Then dividing by square root of 3, we get right here square root of 3. So we have here square root of 3. I hope this one is clear. Let's proceed to the last set of examples where we try and prove the following. First, we have cosecant of theta equals cosecant of theta over 2 all over 2 cosine of theta over 2. How do we do this? Take note that this one right here is the more complicated side of the identity. So there's a lot for us that we can do. So take note that cosecant of theta over 2 all over 2 cosine of theta over 2. I know that right now it's tempting to play with this one right here. However, you can observe that cosecant of theta over 2 is just 1 over sine of theta over 2. So we can bring this down as the sine function to get 1 all over 2 sine of theta over 2 times cosine of theta over 2, which this one right here is just the double angle identity for sine. So that's just sine of 2 times theta over 2, which is sine theta. So you get here 1 over sine theta, which finally would give you cosecant theta. So as you can see, it's not always ideal to use your your half angle identities for proving. Sometimes you need to do some things first which might make your proving easier. Like in this one, instead of directly using the half angle identity for cosine, it has been really helpful to just bring down the sine, the cosecant right here as a sine, which made stuff easier. Let's proceed to the next example. Let's show that tangent of x over 2 is also equal to cosecant of x minus cotangent of x. Okay? As you can see, this one is quite simple. You only have a cosecant and a cotangent. And this one right here is also quite simple. You only have tangent of x over 2. So for this one, we can start with this one and show this one, or start with this one and show this one. I think it would be easier for us to start with this one and show that it's equal to tangent of x over 2, since for tangent of x over 2, you have two versions of this identity. So our problem is that if you will start here, you have to figure out first and foremost which form of tangent of x over 2 you need to use. So maybe let's start with the right side. Let's start with the right side. You have cosecant x minus cotangent x. Take note, we can write this as 1 over sine of x, while cotangent x could be written as cosine of x over sine of x. So you have here 1 over sine of x minus cosine of x all over sine of x, which you can combine as 1 minus cosine of x all over sine of x. Doesn't this one look familiar to you? This one right here is exactly this one, and it's already equal to tangent of x over 2. So 1 minus cosine x over sine x, that's actually your tangent of x over 2. Okay? So usually in proving identities, you do not really want to touch this right away, since, as we all know, this tangent of x over 2 have two forms for its identity. Instead, as much as possible, try and start with the other things that you can touch. Like, in this case, we started with cosecant x minus cotangent of x. I hope the examples this time are clear and you get a good grasp of using the half angle identities. And congratulations to everyone. This is the end of the third exam coverage. I wish everyone the best. I hope you study hard for the upcoming exam, and I hope you get the same high marks as what you got in the second exam. Thank you everyone, and stay hydrated, keep safe. Thank you.